Florida teacher has found himself in hot water after he was arrested 3 times within a week amid alleged string of violent crimes in Palm Beach County, including carrying a 10-inch knife, threatening bar patrons with a baton, and harassing a woman he met online. Wright was arrested 3 times between November 19th through the 26th for charges including carrying a concealed weapon, aggravated assault, drug possession, and writing threats to end somebody. Who was a teacher at Boynton Beach Community High School and an employee of the Palm Beach County School District since August of 2017, is currently on administrative leave. The 43-year-old man's alleged crime spree started November 19th when he attended a pro Palestine rally in West Palm Beach. Wright was observed by police officers on duty walking against the flow of traffic during the protest. Officers tried to tell him to get out of the way and either onto the sidewalk or median, but he continued to walk away from police. Quote, he was screaming and waving his arms in the air at the protesters, which at one point the crowd began to yell and scream in favors of his action. Police officers approached Wright to detain him, but that's when he started to run away. After a brief chase, he was tackled to the ground. During a search of his person, police found a 10-foot scimitar knife, which is a long knife with a curved blade. Wright was put into a patrol car and was eventually transported to the Palm Beach County Jail. In this incident, Wright was charged with carrying a concealed weapon and resisting an officer without violence. He was also issued a pedestrian violation for obstruction/hindering traffic. On November 24th, police were called to O'Shea's Irish Pub in West Palm Beach in response to an assault case. When police arrived, they found Wright being held down in the middle of Clementine Street by several bar patrons. Witnesses stated that Wright was acting shady and strange as he bothered people at the bar. But even though he tried to follow a woman home, at one point during an altercation, Wright pulled out a 12-inch retractable baton from his back pocket and waved it in a threatening way. A bystander and bar security guard intervened, which ultimately led to Wright being pinned to the ground by several people until police arrived. Wright had injuries consistent with being detained on the floor and a small cut to his hand from falling on the floor, but he did not have any injuries consistent with being struck multiple times in the face, like he stated to police. During Wright's arrest, a small clear baggie with a white crystallized substance was found inside of his jacket pocket. Wright was then charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without the intent to kill and a possession of ecstasy/MDMA, according to an affidavit. Next, 2 days later, Wright was arrested for allegedly harassing a woman he met online and making threats towards her. He met a 46-year-old woman online who he went on 3 dates with. The woman, however, discovered that he was not someone that she wanted to be around and stopped communicating with Wright, learning that he had lied to her. Among the lies was finding out that he had been arrested at least twice by this agency for violent offenses. Wright allegedly texted the woman stating that she should be careful how she talks to him, that she's a dead woman walking, that he wanted to punch a Jewish person in the face, and that he would send Haitians to her home, that he would meet with gang members to acquire flashbang grenades, and that he would be dead by the morning if one or more of his calls were sent to voicemail. He also stopped by her apartment looking for her, according to an apartment manager. He was then arrested and charged with written threats to kill or do bodily injury and for harassing phone calls. Wright remains in custody at a Palm Beach County jail on a $46,000 bond. I'm just going to state that, you know, he is a few, candles short. This is why I've stated to women that you need to do background checks on guys that you feel that you want to date or you might be interested in, because you should know the past history if they have a past history that you can just so happen to research. And again, it'll save you a lot of trouble and heartache if you just do this earlier on versus just going for what it is that you feel or that you think you know. Obviously, 3 dates. This woman could have done the research on the first date after learning his name, learning that he is a teacher and all of these things. She could have already seen his records and where it is that he has been and the things that he has already done. And just as many dates as they had, she would have already figured out before the second date that, hey, this ain't it. I'm out of here. She could have very easily did that. Very easily. But this is what happens when you happen to more than likely date somebody or meet somebody on, let's say, a Tinder or online or however. I'm not really believing that this dude was out there in public just talking to women like, hey, let me just, chat you up real quick, have a conversation and see where. No, I'm pretty sure this has happened by way via of online, like a lot of normal things at this moment in time, because that's the era, that we tend to be in. Again, it is imperative that women go out there and do the research necessary so that they don't have to deal with this. And then I find it very interesting that, of course, this is Florida. So then when you scroll directly down, it states that Palm Beach County teacher placed on administrative leave after 3 recent arrests. So he wasn't placed on administrative leave after the first arrest? Not even a second rest. It took y'all to get to 3 for y'all to realize that this dude just should not be working in your school system. Who hired this man? Who hired him? Who let me know who was in charge of getting this man a job, because you need to be fired. And somebody needs to look at your background and your history and all the other people. Matter of fact, scrutinize everything this person has ever done in life. Because this ain't it. This is just not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. If this person was in charge, whoever it is, if they were in charge of the hiring process and hired right, knowing the fact that this dude has a record, that's crazy. And even past that, you mean to tell me that this dude then had multiple arrests and more than likely he's missed some days on the job or whatever, and nobody found that suspicious? Nobody decided to look anything up. Everybody was just like, I'm just going to mind my business. But yet, this is the person that you got working in the school system that's supposed to be looking after people's kids with this type of mentality where he wants to go against the grain, where he wants to walk against the traffic, where he wants to carry knives and all types of narcotics directly on him, where he wants to follow a woman home and send her life-threatening, voicemails and messages. Seriously? Wow. Shout out to Florida. Because this can only happen and exist in Florida. Because Florida is just like Australia. It is its own continent. It is its own place. I kid you not. Kid you not. I am not even surprised half of the time I read stories and I find out it's from Florida. I'm like, you know what? That sounds very Floridian. That sounds like a very Florida story. Sounds like a very Florida story. But I'm pretty sure at some certain point in time that Wright is going to be let out. I just hope that that woman is prepared for what is going to take place. And again, if anything does happen, I'm going to blame the court system and the police for allowing this dude to be right back out there, for even giving him a bond, because realistically, he should not have a bond at all.